Good evening, everyone. Today, I want to share with you a truth potential to change everything you know about life. Marcus Aurelius said, "A truth that, once realized, will reshape how you face every challenge, every obstacle, and every moment." Marcus Aurelius said, "This truth is not new. It has been known for centuries, but has been neglected by many in life." Marcus Aurelius said, "One of the most powerful concepts to understand, what we can control and what we cannot." Marcus Aurelius said, "The art of distinguishing between these two areas and focused a former is not just a form of wisdom. It is a pathway to peace of mind." Marcus Aurelius said, "Life constantly presents challenges and obstacles seem overwhelming, but if we truly reflect on the nature of those challenges," Marcus Aurelius said, "we will realize that the only thing we have fueled her is our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions." Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything else, from the behavior of others to the external events, is beyond our grasp." Marcus Aurelius said, "We often find ourselves frustrated, anxious, and overwhelmed because we try to control things that are inherently uncontrollable." Marcus Aurelius said, "We worry about how others perceive us, about circumstances that we cannot change. The more we focus on things outside our control, the more we are at the mercy of external events." Marcus Aurelius said, "When things don't unfold as we hope, we experience disappointment, anger, or helplessness. These negative emotions arise not from the events these serves," Marcus Aurelius said, "but from our inability to accept that they are outside our sphere of influence." Marcus Aurelius said, "The true power lies in focusing our energy on those that we can control." Marcus Aurelius said, "We can't control how people act or what the future holds, but we can control how we respond." Marcus Aurelius said, "We can choose how we react to criticism, how we maintain our peace amidst chaos." Marcus Aurelius said, "We can also control how we prepare ourselves for challenges, who we respond to emotions." Aurelius said, "And how we take care of our physical and mental well-being. When we invest in developing self-discipline," Marcus Aurelius said, "we strengthen our capacity to face difficulties without being overwhelmed. By taking responsibility for our internal word, our thoughts, attitudes, markers or responses, we can find a sense of peace regardless of circumstances. We stop reacting impulsively or emotionally to that comes our way, and instead, we choose to respond with thoughtfulness." Marcus Aurelius said, "Calm and clarity. This doesn't mean we should be indifferent to life's challenges. On the contrary," Marcus Aurelius said, "it means we approach life's ups and downs with can't always control the outcome. We have full control over how we approach it." Furthermore, Marcus Aurelius said, "Learning to accept what we cannot control, adhering to apathy, or resigning ourselves to a passive existence." Marcus Aurelius said, "It means having the wisdom to recognize that some things and that fighting against them only causes unnecessary suffering." Marcus Aurelius said, "When we accept that we can't control everything from the burden of trying to change the unchangeable. Instead," Marcus Aurelius said, "we can focus our energies on taking purposeful where we do have influence and allowing the rest to unfold naturally. In this way, we create space for greater peace, freedom, and resilience. The less we invest in trying to control things outside our reach," Marcus Aurelius said, "the more we can invest in the things that truly matter, our our relationships." Marcus Aurelius said, "And our ability to respond to life's challenges with wisdom and grace. Adversity is often seen as something to avoid," Marcus Aurelius said, "something to fear and something to resist. However, it is in the face of adversity that the greatest opportunities for growth lie." Marcus Aurelius said, "Instead of running from difficulties, we have the chance to embrace them as teachers." Life, Marcus Aurelius said, in its unpredictable and often challenging moments that test our patience, our resilience, and our character. Marcus Aurelius said, "Yet it is through these very trials that we have the chance to discover our strength, refine our wisdom, and shape our future." Aurelius said, when we encounter hardship, it is easy to view it as an emiri or welcome disruption. We often ask, why me? And struggle with feelings of frozenness. However, if we reframe adversity as a teacher, Marcus Aurelius said, we begin to see that each challenge has something valuable to offer. Every obstacle presents us with a lesson. A chance to learn about ourselves, our values, and the world around us. In fact, without adversity, Marcus Aurelius said, there would be little room for growth. Comfort and ease may bring temporary happiness, Marcus Aurelius said, but it is the difficult moments that forge our character. Consider the process of forging a sword. Marcus Aurelius said, the metal is heated in a fire and hammered into shape, enduring great force in order to become strong. Marcus Aurelius said if the metal were never exposed to the heat or pressure, it would remain brittle and weak. Similarly, Marcus Aurelius said, adversity forces us to confront our limitations, capacities, and stretch beyond what we thought possible. Marcus Aurelius said, it pushes us to adapt, to find creative solutions when the path seems impossible. Without these moments of difficulty, Aurelius said, we would never truly understand the depths of our purposeful. Moreover, adversity teaches us the importance of resilience. Life's challenges do not define us, but our ability to bounce back from them does. Every setback, every failure, is an opportunity to develop resilience. It is not about avoiding fall, but about learning how to recover from it. Marcus Aurelius said, how to stand up again after we've been knocked hip. We learn that we are capable of more than we realize. Marcus Aurelius said, we develop the inner strength to endure, the wisdom to see the immediate pain. Marcus Aurelius said, and the perspective to find meaning in the struggle. Adversity us develop empathy and compassion for others. Marcus Aurelius said, when we experience difficulty in our own lives, we gain a deeper understanding of the struggles that others face. Marcus Aurelius said, we become more patient, more kind, and more supportive. Our becomes a gateway to connection, as we recognize that everyone faces their own battles, often in silence. Marcus Aurelius said, this empathy deepens our relationships and community and shared experience. Ultimately, Marcus Aurelius said, embracing adversity as a teacher allows us to transform a relationship with hardship. Marcus Aurelius said, instead of viewing it as something to avoid or be afraid of, we see it as a vital part of our journey. Marcus Aurelius said, it is through adversity that we find our true selves and grow into the people we are meant to be. Marcus Aurelius said, each challenge becomes an opportunity for self-discovery. With each lesson learned, we move closer to a life of purpose. Marcus Aurelius said, resilience and fulfillment. Living in accordance with nature is not merely a romantic notion or a philosophical ideal. Marcus Aurelius said, it is a profound way of engaging with life that brings harmony, balance, and a deep sense of peace. When we talk about living in alignment with nature, Marcus Aurelius said, we are referring to understanding and accepting the natural rhythms and cycles of life, both within ourselves and in the world around us. Nature, in all its forms, Marcus Aurelius is governed by laws and principles that are often beyond our control. Marcus Aurelius said, yet these same principles offer guidance for how we can live more meaningfully and purposefully. Marcus Aurelius said, at the core of this idea is the recognition of impermanence, the fact everything in life is temporary and in constant flux. Aurelius said, seasons change, day turns to night, birth gives way to death, and joy is often followed by sorrow. Marcus Aurelius said, by acknowledging the transient nature of existence, we can live with greater acceptance and grace. Marcus Aurelius said, when we resist the natural flow of life, trying to hold on to things that are meant to change or pass away, we invite unnecessary suffering. But when we accept the nature of life, we cultivate a sense of peace. Aurelius said, knowing that all things have their time and place. Living in accordance with nature also involves embracing simplicity. Marcus Aurelius said, nature thrives through its simplicity. Trees grow with minimal intervention, Rivers flow with ease, Marcus Aurelius said, and animals live according to their instincts without complicating their existence. In our own lives, Marcus Aurelius said, we can draw inspiration from this simplicity with unnecessary desires, worries, and distractions. Aurelius said, we chase after things that promise happiness, ultimate emptiness, by simplifying our needs and desires, and focusing on what is truly important. Meaning relationships and inner peace. We can cultivate a life of greater contentment. Marcus Aurelius said, there is also a deep connection between living in harmony and self-discipline. Nature does not rush. Marcus Aurelius said, yet everything happens in its own time. The sun rises, sets with unwavering consistency. The tides come and go without fail. Marcus Aurelius said, and the plants grow according to their own rhythms. In a similar way, we must learn to discipline ourselves, cultivating patience and understanding that good things take time. Marcus Aurelius said, rather than seeking instant gratification or a course of our own growth, we can embrace a more deliberate pace, trusting that each step, no matter how small, brings us closer to our goals. Marcus Aurelius said, living in the present also means letting go of the stories about the past and the future. Often, Marcus Aurelius said, we define ourselves by our past experiences, our mistakes, or our triumphs. But these past events do not define us unless we allow them to. Similarly, we often project fears and anxieties about the future to our current lives. Marcus Aurelius said, believing that we need to prepare for everything may not happen. But the future is not yet written. Marcus Aurelius said, and all the planning and worrying in the world change the outcome. Marcus Aurelius said, focusing on the present moment allows us to rettle burdens and simply be with what is in front of us. Marcus Aurelius said, focusing on the present moment also helps us graduate. When we stop rushing through life, Marcus Aurelius said, when we stop waiting for something else to have something, we begin to appreciate the present for what it is. Marcus Aurelius said, gratitude arises naturally when we take time to notice around us the warmth of our relationships and the blessings we often take for granted. Marcus Aurelius said, it is easy to overlook these things when we are constantly higher or looking back. But when we focus on the present, Marcus Aurelius said, we can truly see and feel how much we already have, in a world that often encourages us to look forward and strive for more. Marcus Aurelius said, the ability to focus on the present moment is radiant mindfulness. It brings us back to the here and now. Marcus Aurelius said, where we can truly live and experience life in its fullness. It allows to embrace each moment, each breath. Marcus Aurelius said, and each experience without attachment to what it is space. We find the freedom to simply be. Marcus Aurelius said, cultivating inner peace is a deeply transformative, radically shift how we experience life. Marcus Aurelius said, in a world that often feels chaotic, fast-paced and demanding, it's easy to lose sight of our inner calm. Marcus Aurelius said, we find ourselves reacting to the noise of the world, and to the constant stream of thoughts in our minds. Marcus Aurelius said, yet, true peace is not found in the absence of all disturbances, but in our ability to find stillness within. Marcus Aurelius said, no matter what is happening around us, inner peace that comes and goes with the tides of life. It is a steady foundation that we can nurture, and return to. The first step in cultivating inner peace is learning to manage our thoughts. Our minds are constantly active, Marcus Aurelius said, bouncing from one thought to another, often dwelling on past future worries. These thoughts, while natural, Marcus Aurelius, can easily spiral out of control and create a sense of rest. By becoming more aware of our thoughts, Marcus Aurelius said, we can begin to separate ourselves from them. We are not our thought. We can choose which thoughts to give our attention to. Marcus Aurelius said, meditation, mindfulness, and breathing exercises are tools that help quiet the mind and bring us back to the present moment, where peace resides. Through practice, Marcus Aurelius said, we can train ourselves to recognize when our mind gently guide ourselves back to a place of stillness. Marcus Aurelius said, another important aspect of inner peace is learning to let go of what we cannot control. Marcus Aurelius said, so much of our stress comes from trying to control chumses or other people. But in reality, Marcus Aurelius said, we cannot control how others behave or the outverloten. Accepting that there are things beyond our control, Marcus Aurelius said, we free ourselves from the frustration and anxiety comes with resistance. Marcus Aurelius said, this doesn't mean we become passive or indifferent to life. Rather, Marcus Aurelius said, it means we focus our energy on the things we can influence, our responses, our actions, and our choices. Marcus Aurelius said, when we stop fighting against the uncontrollable, we know our inner peace in the midst of uncertainty. Compassion. Marcus Aurelius said, the both for ourselves and others is another key component of peace. We are often our own harshest critics. Aurelius said, holding ourselves to impossible standards and new good enough. This internal criticism creates inner turmoil and prevents us from finding peace. Marcus Aurelius said, by practicing self-compassion, we learn to treat kindness and understanding just as we would treat a dear friend. When we make mistakes, we acknowledge the forward. Marcus Aurelius said, learning from the experience rather than punish. This self-compassion extends to others as well. Marcus Aurelius said, when we cultivate empathy and understanding for use, we raise the anger and resentment that so often disrupt our peace. Marcus Aurelius said, by letting go of grudges and embracing forgiveness, we create space for peace to flourish in our hearts. Marcus Aurelius said, a deep sense of inner peace also comes from living in with our values. When our actions are in harmony with our core beliefs and principles, Marcus Aurelius said, we experience a sense of integrity and authentically calming. When we live inauthentically, Marcus Aurelius said, chasing after things that are not in line with who we truly are, we experience inner conflict and unrest. Marcus Aurelius said, but when we align ourselves with our true peace, this alignment involves not just external actions, Marcus Aurelius said, but also cultivating a mindset that reflects our values, patience over impatience, kindness over judgment, Aurelius said, and acceptance over resistance. Finally, a key to cultivating inner peace is learning to accept the impermanence of life. Marcus Aurelius said, life is always changing, and with change comes you to what we have, or fearing what might be lost. Marcus Aurelius said, we can embrace the fluidity of life with open arms. Acceptance of impermanence allows us to let go of attachment, Marcus Aurelius said, which is often the root of much of our anxiety. When we accept that everything is temporary, Marcus Aurelius said, we are better able to flow with the changes that come away, truing that each moment, each experience, is part of the larger ebb and flow of life. Marcus Aurelius, cultivating inner peace is not a one-time event, but an ongoing practice requires patience, awareness, and commitment. Marcus Aurelius said, it's about learning to navigate life's challenge with a calm mind and a compassionate heart. Marcus Aurelius said, returning to the stillness within whenever the external world becomes overwhelming. As we cultivate this inner peace, Marcus Aurelius said, we find that the more we nourish it, the more it neutral, a steady and unshakable presence that we can rely on, no matter what happens around us. Marcus Aurelius said, understanding that you are enough is a profound that has the power to transform your life. Marcus Aurelius said, in a world that constantly tells us to strive for more success, more validation, more achievements, it can be easy to forget that we are inherently valuable just as we are. Marcus Aurelius said, we are often conditioned to believe that our worth is like our appearance, our accomplishments, or the opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius said, this constant chase for something outside ourselves leads to an endless cycle of striving and dissatisfaction. Marcus Aurelius said, But true fulfillment and peace come when we undo. They are enough, exactly as we are in this moment. Marcus Aurelius said, "At the heart of this understanding is the recognition we do not need to prove our worth to anyone, nor do we need to change who we are to fit a particular mold. Our worth is intrinsic." Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not dependent on how much we achieve or other use. We are valuable simply by being human." Marcus Aurelius said, "By existing in this world with our unique experatives." When we fully embrace this truth, Marcus Aurelius said, we free ourselves from the pressure to constantly seek approval or validation from others. Marcus Aurelius said, instead of chasing an idealized version of ourselves, we begin to honor the person we are right now, with all our imperfections. Marcus Aurelius said, flaws and quirks. This understanding does not grow in or striving to be better versions of ourselves. Marcus Aurelius said, growth is a natural part of life, and it is healthy to pursue and set goals. However, Marcus Aurelius said, the key difference is that when we understand, we approach growth from a place of self-compassion and love. Marcus Aurelius said, rather than from a place of inadequacy, we no longer muse something to be worthy of love or acceptance. Marcus Aurelius said, we understand that our worth is not tied to the simple fact that we are here and that we are enough. Marcus Aurelius said, regardless of the outcomes, the idea that we must accept ourselves fully, our strengths and our weaknesses. Marcus Aurelius said, often we are taught to focus on what is wrongcomings and to constantly compare ourselves to others. Marcus Aurelius said, this can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. But when we shoot our focus to accepting ourselves as we are, Marcus Aurelius said, we create space for self-love and self-compassion. We begin to see our imperfections are not weaknesses to be ashamed of, but parts of what make us human. By accepting ourselves, flaws and all, Marcus Aurelius said, we can release the pressure to be perfect and embrace the beauty of our authenticity. In this process, Marcus Aurelius said, it's essential to be mindful of the stories we tell ourselves about what we are. Often, Marcus Aurelius said, we carry negative beliefs and self-talk things of inadequacy. These stories may come from past experiences, Marcus Aurelius said, from societal expectations or from the opinions of others. But these stories are not the truth of who we are. Marcus Aurelius said, they are simply narratives that we have internalized over time. When we begin to question these narratives, Marcus Aurelius said, we can rewrite the story of our lives. We can replace that we are not enough with the empowering truth that we are whole. Aurelius said, worthy and complete just as we are. Another powerful wording that we are enough is learning to trust ourselves. Marcus Aurelius said, so often we doubt our instincts, our abilities, we seek approval from others, or look for outside validation. Marcus Aurelius said, thinking that someone else's opinion will deter our worth. But when we realize that we are enough, Marcus Aurelius said, we begin to trust our own inner wisdom. We learn to make it on our values, desires, and intuition. Marcus Aurelius said, rather than seeking constant reassurance from the ones means recognizing that we have the strength. Marcus Aurelius said, resilience and wisdom to navigate life's challenges. We are capable of handling whatever comes our way. Marcus Aurelius said, and we not need to prove our worth to anyone. The joy in the understanding that you are enough is not always easy. Marcus Aurelius said, it requires unlearning many of the societal and familial message that have shaped our beliefs about worth. Marcus Aurelius said, it requires confronting the inner critic that often tells we are not good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. Marcus Aurelius said, but with practice, patience, and self-compassion, we can begin to shift our mindset and embrace the truth that we are enough, just as we are. When we do, we step into a life for greater peace and authenticity. Marcus Aurelius said, we no longer feel the need to prove ourselves to God because we already know that we are worthy. Marcus Aurelius said, and from this place of deep self-acceptance, we can live a life that is aligned with our true selves, free from the constant pursuit of external validation. In the end, Marcus Aurelius said, "Understanding that you are enough isn't just a fleeting realization, it's a way of being." Marcus Aurelius said, "It's about embracing yourself with all your flaws, your dreams, and your imperfections, knowing that you are inherently worthy." Marcus Aurelius said, "When you truly internalize this, you begin to live with evidence this, free from the constant need to prove yourself to anyone." Marcus Aurelius said, "You find peace in knowing that you are enough, and from that play, everything you do comes from a place of abundance, not scarcity." So, remember that the pursuit of self-worth isn't about becoming something more. It's about recognizing that you already are everything you need to be. You are enough, and that truth has the power to choose in your life.